Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Golfertainment George and the Florida Insurance Men. It is great to have everybody here from X, LinkedIn, Facebook, all over the globe. We're streaming live. It is great to be with you today. I am Golfertainment George, and with me today are the Florida Insurance Men. Patrick Wraight is the other Florida Insurance Man. I'll just, usually I guess I should introduce him second, but I don't. Why not? Other Florida insurance man. The Florida insurance man to my right corner is Kevin Amrhein. Welcome, Kevin. Welcome, Patrick. We have an amazing guest today on the Golfertainment George and the Florida Insurance Man podcast. He is or has been. I'm not sure if he's still all doing all this simultaneously, but an underwriter, a blogger, a best-selling author, a speaker. He's a recruiter, a podcaster, and yes, even a magician. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess I feel like I'm announcing a fight. Uh, all the way from Costa Rica by way of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Please welcome Tony Cañas. Tony, welcome to the podcast. Great to have you here,
Hello,
Tony.
hello, hello. And the answer, the one thing I'm no longer doing is underwriting. Former
Oh,
middle market underwriter, but carriers are not cool with you doing all that other stuff you mentioned while being an underwriter.
That is
I'm
true.
a former underwriter. Everything else I continue doing.
fantastic. What do you like doing the most out of all those things? And do you ever do anything simultaneously? Like do you
What
blog and recruit at the same time, for example?
my life is very well integrated. So what I do a lot of together is recruit, career advice, and magic and podcasts. Okay, those things happen a lot, kind of combined. So the podcast is the largest podcast in the U.S. insure tech space. It's called Profiles in Risk. Episode 690 went live today. So this has been going on for a long time. It's an offshoot of Insurance Nerds, has been around for 10 years and has over 1,000 articles. So the podcast, basically, I go to InsurTech conferences or insurance conferences that have InsurTech as sponsors. I go introduce myself, give them my business card, which is a playing card, do magic at their booth, invite them on the podcast, and I have the easiest pitch in the building. I run the largest podcast in the U.S. InsurTech space. It's free. Come on the show, right? And let me show you some magic. Then when they come on the show, after we record it and after it's ready to go live, I tell them about the recruiting firm, which specializes in insurance and insurtech. That fits most of the business that we need. Uh, the main way that I market both my podcast and the recruiting firm is magic at insurance conferences. And recently, I have now become a professionally trained magician. I did a 7-day residency at the number one magic school in the world, and I'm going to do it again next year. And since then, I have also made my magic available both locally in Atlanta and nationally outside of insurance events. So I do birthday parties, corporate events, you name it.
I think the word for this is Renaissance man.
Yes, that is the nice way to say it. Clearly, ADHD is the less nice way to say it, but yes, I would agree with that.
Tony, when you and I first got connected, you were doing you were an underwriter at the time, and you were doing Insurance Nerds as a side piece there, and out of nowhere, I get an email from somebody I'd never heard from asking if you would read and review this book for me. And so
Uh-huh.
that's how we connected the very first time. And eventually we ended up meeting at a CPCU event, and you had your whole I don't know, whole vibe has evolved. You used to run around with the Superman T-shirt and tell stories about millennials, and now you've got the wonderful top hats
So
and doing the
I
magic.
still tell stories about millennials. Uh, by the way, how was the book? How was Insuring Tomorrow?
It
Now,
was really great. It was eye opening to me as somebody who had not dealt with very many, I guess, millennials in the insurance space. And I had my own view, having raised a couple of millennials, and sometimes I get them, and sometimes I don't. But it was very good. It was well
so,
thought through, and I felt like it captured the essence of what we needed to talk about.
thank you. When the book came out, my life really got turned upside down. And I said in interviews to all the insurance press, the insurance journal, etc., that within a year or two, I would have two more books. One of them, a career guide to insurance. In fact, in the prologue to the book, I talk about the book I really wanted to write was a career guide, but this one was more important. And I also said that within a year, I would also write the Gen Z, how to engage and retain Gen Z. Okay, it has now been 8 years, and neither of this book happened. Now I am very excited. So what happened with the career book? I had the great idea of putting QR codes that point you to YouTube videos to dig deeper into topics. Well, it turns out it's easier to make YouTube videos than it is to write a book. So now we have a great YouTube channel instead. That book might eventually happen. But the Gen Z book is finally happening. I'm announcing it here for the very first time. The Gen Z book is now 12 out of the 19 chapters are ready. So it's about 60% there. And the number of chapters could change slightly, but basically we're talking either late this year or early next year. Don't really have the title yet. So for now, I'm referring to it as Insuring Tomorrow 2, How to Engage Gen Z in the Insurance Industry. Different co-author, because now I have a Gen Z co-author, because they're crazy and even I don't understand them. So I needed one of them. Well, the best part is I have recruited 5 different people to co-author this book with me, and none of them have made it. I am confident that this one will. So the book is coming, which is super, super exciting for me.
Can you tell us who the co-author is, or would we know who the co-author is?
Okay, I can't, and there's a few reasons why. He or she works.
Is his last name The Amazing?
No,
No.
no. They work for a large carrier, and they have not fully decided whether they will use their real name or use a pen name. Because one of the reasons that I've lost so many co-authors is because I'm very honest with them. Every content creator in the carrier space that I have met along the way is no longer working at the carrier where they worked when they started creating content. Now, they all have better jobs now in better places, but carriers, large carriers especially, are not comfortable with their people out and about with a message that they are not fully that they not fully create. Even if you do everything right, you are very likely to end up separating from that carrier one way or another. So I did warn him of that, and his approach was, well, I might use a pseudonym, I might not. So we're still working through that. But I can tell you that it is a young underwriter, went through an underwriting training program at a carrier and is still at that carrier, and is deeply passionate about this problem, and is more than pulling their weight. Like the hardest part of this project is you have to, well, one of the hard parts is I'm 20 years older, and you have to tell me when I'm wrong, which is hard, right? Number 2, you have to tell me when I'm right, when I'm doubting myself, because you people are crazy, meaning Gen Zers. And number 3, the hardest part of it, you have to project manage me. And I am really hard to project manage.
You're all over the place, aren't
No
you?
way.
So I've told every co-author that you have to give me deadlines. You have to assign me chapters. You have to hold me to the fire. You have to call me names. No, you have to if the chapter's due on Thursday and it's Tuesday and you can see on our shared file that I haven't done a lick of work, you have to text me and call me out. At least ask me, hey, are you going to be able to make the deadline or not? Right? You have to be a really good project manager to get this crazy ADHD, extremely busy guy to actually get this thing done. And he is. He's probably going to have to work.
That's a difficult thing, whether you're talking about somebody who's younger than you or not. I mean, just peer to peer, it can be difficult.
Exactly.
Tony, you before we had a conversation, you were demonstrating a couple of tricks, like quick, version. And one of the things you displayed for us was a wallet that.
Okay, so I don't yet do tricks on Zoom, but I will be getting trained on that, and I want to get to the point where I can easily do tricks on Zoom. What I do have is this beautiful thing, which I do all the time on Zoom. That is actual analog fire. Yes, it's just a normal wallet, and with my crazy magician skills, uh,
Did you say
and
analog fire?
yeah, it is real
Yeah,
fire.
analog fire.
This is a 5 that accidentally caught on fire when I did this wrong a few days ago. Uh,
So what I was going to ask you, Tony, beyond would you please demonstrate that again, was how many tricks in your repertoire can also be considered perils in commercial property or general
for
liability?
for now, only that one. Now
Only
I
that one. Okay.
Yes, for now, I will get more. For now, I am mostly a card magician. Uh, excuse me. One of the biggest things that I learned at my recent stint at the Jeff McBride School of Magic and Mystery is that I need to diversify beyond card magic, and I'm working on that. So cards will always be my first love, but I'm learning a lot of other stuff. By the way, I'm going back to magic school not only next year for the next master class, but I'm going back end of this month to magic summer camp at the same school. I just signed up a couple days ago, so that should be a lot of fun. It's a lot smaller. It's only 6 people, so it's all about helping me improve my magic. And then I'll be going to Magic Life, which is the largest magic conference in the U.S. In August, and then I'll be doing Magic School again next year. I'm going deeper and deeper into this thing. And no, I am not leaving insurance. It's the number one question I've been getting is, are you leaving recruiting? Are you leaving podcasting? Are you leaving insurance? No. Quite simply, I have turned my childhood hobby into a part-time gig that I really enjoy, and I use it to market my other businesses.
Fantastic. Well, I we can't thank you enough for being on the show so far. Really appreciate everything. I wanted to this first part of the Golfertainment George and our conversation with Tony Cañas is brought to you by our first sponsor, the FISCE, and Kevin Amrhein. If you could tell us a little more about what the FISCE is, what they do, who they are, what's going on with that, Kevin. If you could talk about our first sponsor, please.
I would be honored. The FISCE, that's the Florida Insurance School Continuing Education. That is a school that I have here in the great state of Florida. Continuing education school that is all virtual. All of the training we do, it's all via live webinars. We've got a lot of different instructors, myself, Patrick Wraight being a couple of those. Lots of great stuff. If you're not a Florida licensee and you would like to participate in our programs and you're interested in getting CE for them, we do have a CE partnership with many other associations in many other states. So if you are a member of the Professional Insurance Agents or the Independent Agents Association in whatever state you have your license in, if you look at the education offerings of that association, really good chance you're probably going to see a bunch of webinars there that are the programs that we run here in Florida. So we've been doing this a long time. Love the live webinar format for CE, and happy to be associated with this podcast. And
Wonderful.
my fellow Florida insurance men and the others who grace the airwaves with us from time to time.
Whomever they may be.
Kevin, whomever they may be. Yeah.
Fantastic. Kevin,
Yeah.
thank you so much for talking about the FISC. Really appreciate it.
Of course. It's my favorite thing to talk about.
Tony,
See right here.
You were based I love that shirt.
Yeah.
Tony, you were based in Georgia. With a man of your mystical stature, why haven't you made the trek to somewhere like New York or like LA where you can't see it, where the Magic Castle is, you know what I'm saying? You ever heard of the Magic Castle? You like that?
So yes, so I live I live on a delta plane. I pay rent in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's a very strategic decision. I have very little connection to the city, but it's a very strategic decision. Basically, Atlanta has great weather, no snow. After 10 years in the Midwest, that's a big one. Number two, decent cost of living for a large city. You can't say that about New York, San Francisco, Chicago, right? Number three, probably the most important, after much negotiation, agreement from my girlfriend that this works for her too, right? She asked me a few months ago if I died, and I'm older than she is by 1 year, so it's weird. But she travels a lot. She's traveling to dangerous places at times. She's like, if I die, what will you do? And I said I would probably finish out this expensive lease and head back to Iowa, because I'm Iowan at heart, 515 for life. and start rebuilding there. Right? People are nice. It's cheap. The airport sucks. The weather sucks, but people are nice and it's cheap. After Magic School, I changed my answer, and my answer is now I would probably move to Vegas. And now Vegas is two different cities that are radically different from each other. There's the Strip, which you don't want to spend more than a few days in the Strip at a time, and there's what they call downtown, which is really suburban Vegas. And suburban Vegas is a fantastic place to live in. And the cost of living is very decent. The weather, I mean, it's hot in the summer, but it's very decent. And major airport. Not a Delta hub, which would be a bit of a pain for me because I'm extremely Delta loyal. I'm a Delta a million miler as of 2 years ago. Either diamond or platinum most years. I'm diamond this year, so that would be a pain. But yeah, that's why I pay rent in Atlanta, Georgia, and it works out really well. It allows me to, if you think about my world, it's mostly insurance. I can be anywhere in the East Coast or Midwest in a couple hours, right? So it saves me a hotel night a lot. Also, when I'm done with meetings, if meetings are done early, I can easily head to LaGuardia or whatever airport in town, and take a free same day change to the next flight home, and be home early, right? So it is just so convenient.
So Tony, I don't know if you're a Doctor Who fan at all, but Doctor Who has something called psychic paper, and he can take this piece of paper and like put any kind of identification on it. That do you have something similar where you can say that you're licensed to sell life insurance in Wyoming? Like you're like, no, I'm a producer. Like here, look, see.
I'm not at that level of training yet. Funnily enough, I don't tell this story often. I do say all the time, I have never been PNC licensed. I have never sold insurance. So take what I tell you with a grain of salt, right? I'm a carrier guy that accidentally ended up running the largest podcast in the U.S. insurtech space, and that does recruiting mostly for insurtechs and agencies. But I've never worked at an agency. But before my insurance career, I was Iowa Life licensed. I was recruited by one of the big ones, who shall remain nameless because this story did not go well. They paid for me to get my license, which I did. And then I failed horrifically at selling anything, trying to do it part-time. I literally never sold a single policy. And then I dropped out. And it is very representative of the reality of most new producers, especially in life. We're a little better in PNC, horrific in life.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the life space is tough.
Selling life is so hard, and the survival rate in life is like 5-year survival rate is like 1%. And whenever I run into people in positions of authority in life, I do honestly tell them, you're ruining it for the rest of us, because every person that you burn out, back in the 90s it didn't matter that much, but today every person that you burn out tells not their closest 5 friends, tells their closest 500 LinkedIn friends, right? And if you happen to burn out somebody like me, it will be thousands and thousands of people that will hear the story. And that person will never come back to insurance. And I'm a perfect example of how insurance was a fantastic career for me. And we got lucky as an industry. We got lucky that bad experience didn't completely scare me away from any insurance role. And then we got lucky that Farm Bureau did a fantastic job with me as an employee in claims, because that's another thing where we burn out a ton of people.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, when your daughter asks you, is magic real? What do you tell her? And will you tell her anything different now that you've met Tony Cañas?
Anything? No. I tell her, of course, it's real, because it is real. I mean, magic is real. If even if it's a trick, that doesn't mean that what's happening isn't actually happening, right? I mean, is that a good answer? I don't want her to be. She has no chance. She has a dad that's an insurance guy. She's cynical from the date of delivery. She's cynical, risky. She would have, if she'd have seen Tony's fire trick, she would have, oh my gosh, there's somebody, she doesn't have a chance. So I don't want her to be cynical in every aspect of life. I mean, paranoia from insurance runs naturally in our family.
There is significant debate within the magic community, and especially the mentalism community. So mentalism is like mind reading magic, right? Not cards, not rings and sponges and crazy stuff. It's reading minds, right? So there's a significant debate, and it's been going on for over 100 years, about what you say when people ask you if it's real, right? And there's different points of view. And my mentor, Larry Haas, the philosopher magician, actually gave up a tenured role as a philosophy professor to take over being dean of the Jeff McBride School of Magic. And he's kind of the leader of this conversation in the modern age. So it's very, 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 very interesting. And my take on it is basically what I tell people is everything a magician does, we're entertaining you. It's that simple. We're entertaining you. Nothing is paranormal. It's all entertainment. And the way we accomplish that, sometimes it's sleight of hand, sometimes it's psychology. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And also the number one question we get, well, the number one question we get is can you make my wife disappear? Right? People, we have heard it before. You are not that creative. Okay. No, we cannot. Okay. Number two question we get is how did you do that? And the answer is we can't tell you. And there's a very good reason why we can't tell you. Because if we tell you, once you know how it's done, you will rightfully go, oh, that's dumb, because it is. It is. 99% of the time, the way it's done, it's dumb compared to what you're imagining. And that's why it kills the magic. And that's why we can't tell you. Now, funnily enough, as this is super interesting, apparently I have an addiction to things that have a hard time recruiting young kids. Because magic has the same problem that insurance has. It's a very old art that is practiced by very old people. And because of the need for secrecy, it's hard to decide at what point do we. So when a 20-year-old says, I love that, how did you do that? If I tell them how I did it, that's exposure. That's against the rules. That can get me in trouble. Okay? But if he convinces me that he is a magician, even if a very basic one, now I can show him the ropes, right? So, and there's no hard and fast rule or where the line is.
So now that's really interesting, because is there now a council of magicians that you will have to stand before and explain yourself to?
And how are they dressed? This council.
I have not had to stand in front of them. So Patrick, I once ended up having to defend my CPCU. No, actually, I ended up I once got a certified letter in the mail telling me that I either did something, which I am not going to say right now, or I had to defend my CPCU in front of the ethics council, and I just did what they asked me to do, and I moved on. Okay, that happens in the magic world too. The difference in the magic world is that it's not one council. So it depends on who are you involved with. So for example, I am a member in good standing of the International Brotherhood of Magicians, and I'm a member, very similar to CPCU Society, and I'm a member of the Northern Georgia chapter, which is Atlanta, right? So in my case, it would be the International Brotherhood of Magicians. Like if I go on TikTok and like expose a trick that I didn't create myself, that I don't have a right to expose, break somebody's copyright, even though there's no copyright in our world. Who I'm going to get in trouble with is the International Brotherhood of Magicians, who's going to tell me that if I keep doing that, I'm going to lose my membership, right? And not only that, I could even lose my ability to get business cards, because my business cards are printed by a magic shop in London. If I get banned, they won't print them anymore, right? And like the other magic places won't sell me magic anymore because they don't want me to expose it, right? Now, if I was a member of the Society of American Magicians, then it would be them. Also, and I could be a member of both, right? I probably will join the other one. It's just I joined the first one first, right? I'm also a member in good standing of the Jeff McBride School of Magic and Mystery. When I went to my first class at the Jeff McBride School of Magic and Mystery, they literally had me sign in blood, well, not in blood, but literally physically sign the pledge of agreeing to not reveal the secrets. And they would be like, it would be like breaking my grandma's heart, right? And I would lose access to the magic school and to the court of magicians, right? When I finished the class, and we're not allowed to call ourselves alumni, okay? Because you never finish learning magic, okay? But when I finished the class, they did give me a pin that if I'm going to magic stuff, I wear. I'm not wearing today. Oh, it's in my jacket. It's in the car. And the pin says Jeff McBride School of Magic and Mystery. You can't buy that. You can only do it by going through the class. 10,000 professional magicians in the world have that pin because Jeff has been training for 35 years. That pin kind of gives me backstage access. I don't get in for free. So like this week, I'm going to a Chicago Magic Lounge. I went 3 weeks ago. I went twice. I'm going again tomorrow. No, the day after tomorrow. Okay. With that pin, I have to pay to get in, but then I get backstage access. I would lose all of that, right? So that's how we police ourselves, basically. And if I were a UK magician, then it wouldn't be it might be IBM or it wouldn't be SAM, but they do have their own council. That's even harder to join, and then you'd be defending yourself against them. Same story. The Magic Castle. Somebody mentioned the Magic Castle. I've never been to the Magic Castle. I am going in a few weeks. The Magic Castle is invite only, so I'm gonna be in LA for an insurance conference for IBA Future Fest 25, which is the first time they're doing it. And it's in Santa Monica Pier. I specifically grabbed that Airbnb a few blocks from the Magic Castle, and then I reached out to my cohort of magicians and went like, hey, I'm going to be in LA. Who can hook me up with an invite? And it took me a couple of days to find it. So same story. I would lose access to the Magic Castle. So yeah, we do police. We do police. Yeah, there's compliance.
I gotta ask this question. As a magician, are there well-known magicians that you see and they blow your mind? I mean,
yes.
Okay.
Yes. And let me. Okay, I am in a beautiful. I'm a teenager of a magician, right? And 3 months ago, I was a baby magician. Okay, I was a baby magician that had just spent a bunch of money in magic, learned it, watching the videos, read a couple of books, and was just learning to walk. Okay, after leaving the magic school, I'm a teenager magician. I know enough to be dangerous. I just got my driver's license at 16, right? And my permit. But there's so many things I don't know yet that they do blow my mind. Okay, in fact, at magic school, I made really good friends with a professional magician called Richard Lord. Richard Lord is only 27 years old, and he was raised a classically trained pianist, classically trained actor, and classically trained magician. He had a show on the Strip by himself, like his own show on the Strip at 26 years old, and then the casino closed down. He's looking for a new show. He's an amazing human, and we became fast friends. He's my new bestie. Over the weekend, he almost died, by the way. Over the weekend, he had a horrible car accident. Him and his fiancée are fine. The car is totaled. Deer hit in Utah, driving back from visiting their parents. I spent a good couple hours yesterday advising him on insurance stuff. Okay, so Richard, we get a chance to present at Magic School and get feedback. Richard was one of the last ones to present. And what he presented, first, he did a cups and balls, like very classic trick. He's a very classic Vegas magician, even though he's very young. And then the second trick he did, he said, this trick is the most powerful trick I do. It is also terrifying. And he pulled out a little black ball of wool with 13 needles in it. And he called me over. I was sitting first row in this very small theater, only like 20 people in. And I walked up. He asked me to inspect the needles. And I grabbed each needle and checked that they were real needles. And then I sat back down. And then he proceeded to recite from memory with his beautiful voice. It's gonna be the intro voice for my podcast soon. We're working on recording that. With this beautiful voice, the voice of God, he proceeds to read, to recite a Shakespearean poem while swallowing the 13 needles, 4 feet away from me. And I am looking around going, like, I know that he's trained to do this. I don't know how it's done. I know that he's trained to do it. I know that the faculty would not let him do this if he didn't know how to do it. It is still terrifying to me to watch. Yeah. Okay. And then he swallows thread and pulls the thread out with the 13 needles attached. And then he takes a bow and we throw flowers at him. Okay. Yes, that is still mind blowing. But even the tricks that I know how they're done. So for example, I went to see Penn and Teller, and Penn and Teller do a lot of classics that I do know how they're done. They're still amazing at doing them. And I went to see Gregory de Sousa, arguably the best or the second best mentalist in the world. I know enough about mentalism to know how some of his stuff is done. I just don't do it myself. I'm not trained to actually do it. He was still mind blowing. Even like, in fact, I think he was more mind blowing to me because I know how hard the stuff that he's doing is than to people who really think that he's just reading their minds.
Wow.
Well, that's great to hear. I was afraid you were going to say, well, once you kind of get behind the scenes a little bit, and
like Magic School, it was 15 students, 6 faculty. Out of the 15, I was in the middle in age. At 42 years old, I was the very newest one in experience. Okay, 12 of them were professional full-timers. 2 of them were retired business executives that have done Magic their whole life as a hobby and are now using Magic as for keynote speaking. And one of them was the 18-year-old daughter of one of the other ones, who's been training Magic her whole life. So I was by far the least experienced one. And one of the things I learned is that no, magicians don't get bored of watching Magic. In fact, if you go to a Magic show in Vegas, chances are there's 10 magicians watching. Like magicians love Magic more than anybody else.
that's great.
That's amazing. Tony, thank you so much. The second part of our conversation with Tony Cañas is brought to you by our second sponsor. You see the ticker floating by ijacademy.com. That stands for Insurance Journal Academy. Patrick, can you tell us more about the Insurance Journal Academy of Insurance? Awesome.
Yeah, the Academy of Insurance is an online learning platform where people come and they get their insurance learning. We talk a lot about coverages. We talk a lot about issues that are going on in the industry. We had a fascinating conversation here recently with Chris Barand about E&O in the hard market. We don't do CE. We just do live webinars. In fact, Kevin's one of our instructors, and they let me do some teaching now and again. But we have a great time teaching everything from the basics to more complex insurance coverage issues. And we're available online 24/7, live and on demand. Everything that we do live is recorded for folks to get a hold of later on. If they want to, they can consume the material while they're driving their car, while they are riding their bike or walking their dog or watching their dog ride their bike. It doesn't really matter. I would not attempt to do magic while listening to some of our people talk, because it'd be just distracting, and the something might happen badly. But ijacademy.com, we love it.
Tony, I have a question for you. George may have been, it's not a magic related question, but it just popped into my head, and knowing what you do professionally for insurance, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. I had an opportunity to meet with a group of people a few weeks back, young people that are transitioning from foster care into the professional world. And we had a group of us that met with them to talk to them about careers in insurance. And the question that they were asking, which I wasn't prepared for, and I can't believe I wasn't prepared for this because it's such an obvious question. I'm sure it's something that you talk about all the time. If I'm a young person looking to get into the insurance business, what is, with all of the InsurTech, with all of the tech now that's being incorporated into traditional underwriting processes and analytic processes that used to require so much brain power, and now it's more of a tech issue. If I'm a younger person that wants to pursue a career in the insurance industry, what is the skill set that I need to bring to the table that makes me more valuable than somebody else? What's that employer looking for more than anything else?
So first of all, thank you for doing that. Thank you for
it was amazing.
That's awesome. I have a very good friend who went through foster care, and I met her in insurance already. I don't want to tell her story. Like I don't want to throw her under the bus kind of thing, but she did educate me, and she's had an amazing career over in the intersection of insurance and InsurTech at the innovation department of a carrier. She did illuminate me on foster care. Only like 2% of foster care kids go to college. So to begin with, like, it's a hard start to your professional life. Okay. So thank you for doing that. The answer is it depends on the type of role, right? So in your world, in selling insurance, can you sell? Do you like to sell? If you like to sell and you are legally able to get an insurance license, you will rock at this. Find yourself a good mentor and you will rock at this, right? If you don't like to sell, then the carrier world might be better. The carrier world is hard to get into. Oh, but hold on. If you don't like to sell, but you're good with details and you're good with the client, account manager, CSR, right? Service side. If you uh, let's talk about carrier side. Carrier side is harder to get into, especially if you don't have a degree, right? It's just that simple. It's hard to get into especially if you don't have a degree. Now, if you can get yourself into the mail room at a carrier, use your tuition reimbursement and get your CPCU and network your way up. And by the way, if you end up at the mail room or any entry level role at a major carrier, and they will not pay for, and you don't get tuition reimbursement because you are in such a low level role, call me. Call me, and I will personally embarrass them all over LinkedIn and all over the insurance media, and we will fix that problem, or we will find you a job at a better carrier, because that is absolute BS. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, get yourself a job at the mailroom or whatever entry level job you can. It'll be hard without a degree, but still, once you're there, we can help you grow. I think what you were going towards was, is AI gonna, like, is coming to insurance still a good job, or is AI gonna put us all out of a job? Okay, let me answer that question, because that applies to all of us. The agent's not going anywhere, that's for sure. The agent's not going anywhere. Now, there are good agents and there are crappy agents. We have plenty of agents all over the industry who are little more than order takers. They might not do great going forward, but agents that are true advisors, we will always have a place for you, especially in commercial lines. AI is not going to take you away. Okay, what about the rest of insurance jobs? I interview founders, insurtech founders, almost every day of the week. And for the last 18 months, all they talk about is AI. In fact, I like to joke that if I took a shot for every time one of them said AI, I'd be needing a liver transplant by now, because all they talk about. Okay, and I often ask them, whether it's on the show or even after we record, I often ask them, are you killing this industry as a place to work? What advice do you have for people who are 25 and starting in insurance so that they'll be employable in the long term? And they all tell me the same thing. They all tell me, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to another meatbag that uses AI better than you. Now, meatbag is my own phrasing. So get good at using AI. In fact, if anything, it's leveling the field. For example, I started my career. I started my college career as a computer science major. It turns out if you can't do math, you will never graduate as a computer science major. Okay. Things worked out the best they could have. But if I were going to school today for computer science, it would make sense for a professor to kind of pull me into a conversation and say, Tony, you are never going to survive all the calculus required for this major. But you can just go to management information systems, which is what I ended up doing, and use ChatGPT to develop, and you'll be fine. Right? The valuable piece is no longer the coding. The valuable piece is guiding that coding, is understanding how it fits into the bigger pieces, is understanding what like, it's always been valuable to understand like in my career, it's always been valuable to understand what IT can do, even if I can't do it myself. So my management information systems degree has been useful, even though I've never developed myself. In the world going forward, understanding what AI can do for you is 2/3 of the battle. So I went all over the place with that one. By the way, anybody listening who is a foster kid or a former foster kid who wants to work in insurance, reach out. Chatwithtony.com. Any insurance professional or aspiring insurance professional, chatwithtony.com. It's free, and I will advise you. I would customize the advice to you and to how your brain works.
That's a heck of an offer.
Fantastic.
Thank you for doing that, Tony.
My pleasure. I get so much satisfaction out of doing it.
So
I do?
our last segment of the show before we get into that is brought to us by a grant from a summer series that the Academy is putting on. The Academy not only has classes, but a bookstore, a gift shop that's soon to be unveiled, and a summer reading series in which we attract only the best and the brightest. So if we have that that ad for the summer reading series, if we could roll that, that'd be fantastic.
The Insurance Journal cordially invites you to the Academy of Insurance Summer Reading Series, where the works of Academy authors are given by featured artists. This month, world-renowned actor Ian McKellen leaves the world of Shakespeare, Marvel, and Tolkien to bring to life his greatest challenge, Christopher Boggs's Insurance Risk and Risk Management. Come hear this work as you've never heard it before. While some insurance carriers provide loss control, risk engineering, or other such services, these are actually outside of, or in addition to, the sole true purpose of insurance. Ben Bradley of the New York Times writes, Ian McKellen is the living embodiment of King Lear if he were a risk transfer agent. Insurance scores avoid cross-subsidized rates and produces rates more directly related to the exposure created. Charles McNulty from the LA Times writes, Ian McKellen's rundown of contract of utmost good faith pairs well with a baguette and a mocktail on a summer evening. And Alan Lehman of Carrier Management wrote, What? I'm a theater critic now? For tickets and more information, please call the Academy of Insurance at 1-800-897-9965, extension 166. The Academy of Insurance Summer Reading Series, When Shakespeare in the Park is Too Crowded.
That is the best insurance ad in history. Holy, somebody needs a massive raise.
Well, Tony, the more we do this podcast, the more I love meeting insurance people that also dabble in the arts, and you are exemplary of that. But thank you for the, well, no, thank me. That's our sponsor, the Academy of Insurance Summer Reading Series.
Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
Send me a private message with who recorded that, because I want to be friends with them. I might hire them for side projects.
Right there, George.
All I could hear, it just reminded me what I would like to hear Ian McKellen is tell me when I took Finance of Risk the first time and just yell, "You shall not pass."
So, George, are you a voice actor?
Okay, Tony. George is our resident card-carrying member of SAG.
Add me, I can't seem to find you on LinkedIn. Add me on LinkedIn. Let's have a conversation.
Sounds good. I'll be in touch. Thank you. So, I guess I'll go to our third segment, which is I wanted to touch on golf because we are Golfertainment, but and part of it's the trailer for the upcoming movie Happy Gilmore 2. But I wanted to ask the panel, just if you don't mind, Tony, who is everyone's favorite movie magician? So for me, it's a cross between Wong, who is the Sorcerer Supreme in the Marvel Comics movies, and Anton Marvelton, played by Steve Buscemi in the Burt Wonderstone movie. Those are my favorite movie magicians. Does anyone else have a favorite movie magician, or am I the only one in that camp?
Never actually thought of that.
Oh my gosh, the Hugh Jackman movie, where they do, is that what it is? Where they do the trick that he clones himself?
The Prestige.
The Prestige, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty cool. It's definitely not a comedy though.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Magic-wise, it's weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Movie.
Yeah, very dark.
Patrick, do you have a favorite TV or movie magician? The Amazing Mumford, maybe, from Sesame Street?
A la peanut butter sandwiches.
You got it. Anybody?
Krusty the Clown was technically a magician, wasn't he? That's not a movie.
No.
Sleight of hand, movie or TV?
I'm gonna go very on Tony because I'm generally not a comedy guy, but the one weird brother from last name Bluth from Job
in Arrested Development.
From Arrested Development.
I can't believe I didn't think of that.
He wants to be a magician and he keeps failing. So like it just turns out horribly wrong, and it's very.
That is such a great answer.
Yeah. Now, Joe
man.
Bluth is to Magic what the annoying life sales guy from Groundhog Day is to insurance. Right? He makes us look bad.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
But it is hilarious.
He's the best character on that show.
Oh,
I
such
can't
a-
believe I
such a
didn't. I
good
can't believe I
character.
didn't think about
Such
him.
a good
Oh.
character. Yes.
Tony, we've talked about golf movies every other episode at least. We talk about how the movie industry and the golf industry kind of converge into these movies, and the genre is kind of like a minor classic genre. Happy Gilmore 1 is a surprising genre classic, I feel like, and a lot of Adam Sandler's movies they go straight to Netflix now. Except this one's kind of interesting because it's in theaters, which is a departure for him, and so it's kind of like felt like a long time coming, and it's felt like kind of the right amount of time for a sequel for this movie. And I like that they're bringing a couple people back, and I like that there's tons of cameos. I have high hopes for it. I don't know if the rest of the panel shares that, or if you're interested at all, Tony, in Happy Gilmore 2, or you're holding out for part 3.
Happy Gilmore 2, I am excited for. Am I likely to go to the theater to watch it? Probably not. Will I watch it on a Delta flight somewhere? Probably. Not a big comedy guy, but I do like Adam Sandler, and Happy Gilmore 1 was very good. Like I told Patrick when he invited me on this podcast, I'm like, I don't golf. I don't golf at all. Like, not only do I not golf, I don't follow it in any way, shape, or form.
Got it.
So have I watched a few golf movies? That might be the only one. I think.
Okay.
And I did like it because Adam Sandler, I did like him.
Gotcha. Kevin, I need you to weigh in on this. What do you think?
I don't feel good about it. I will watch it, of course. I'm sure I'll groan a few times. There's probably going to be a couple of quality jokes and a few good throwbacks. I think there's going to be a lot of cameos, and maybe they'll be good. Maybe they'll just kind of be icky. I don't know. I feel like it probably didn't need a sequel. But hey, look, it should be fun. I can't imagine it's not going to be fun.
If you give it long enough, you can make a good sequel for a movie that didn't need a sequel, right?
Yeah,
most
true.
sequels are crappy because they are for movies that didn't need a sequel, and they're just money grabs.
Yeah.
But if you have 15 years, you can do something interesting with it. I'll give you a weird example. I'm a huge Back to the Future fan, and all three of them are fantastic. I grew up with them. I'm an 80s baby, right? And then a couple of years ago, I get an ad, like 3 years ago, I get an ad on Facebook for Back to the Future, the musical on Broadway. It sounds like the most ridiculous thing ever, and I am totally going to go see it. Okay?
Absolutely.
It comes out, and I go see it very quickly thereafter because I'm assuming it's going to suck, and they're going to close it down in no time, and I want to see it, right? No, it is really, 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 really good. It's about to go on tour, by the way, which I don't know how they're going to do that because the effects are crazy. But anyway, the reason it's very, very, very good is because there's so much time in between, and they're not advancing the story in a way that doesn't make sense. They're retelling the story in a way that makes sense for theater, with lots and lots and lots of nostalgia and lots and lots and lots of respect for the original material. So it can be done. So I'm hoping that Happy Gilmore 2 will be that, not a stupid money grab. The fact that it's going to theaters, not straight to Netflix, is a good sign.
And so I think that brings us to the last part of our golf segment, which is Tony. You put the disclaimer on that you aren't knowledgeable about golf, but do you have any predictions for the U.S. Open, which is coming up soon?
It will happen. It'll be sponsored by at least one insurance company.
Yes,
it will happen.
And
so far so good.
And a male older than me will win it, and I'm 42. That's the only one I took a little bit of a risk in. How's that?
Oh, that's a brave prediction, man. Older than 42. Now I'm thinking. I'm trying to narrow it down.
I'm going with
that could be
some out of bounds choices, Kevin. I'm going with Kazuma and Grillo. Those are my two favorites.
If I get 2 out of 3, that's pretty good for a non-fan.
Absolutely.
That's very good.
Absolutely.
Patrick, who's your dark horse for the
I'm all in on Sam Burns.
Sam Burns? Got it. Okay. Kevin,
Bermuda
you?
Burns at
How about you,
Oakmont.
Kevin?
My flyer is Tommy Fleetwood. Englishman hits the ball straight as an arrow. They're going to need that at the U.S. Open. Scotty Scheffler's probably going to win. It's a boring pick. Bryson DeChambeau's probably going to be in the final group. Another boring pick. Not that I don't like those guys, but just they're always there.
They're
so
good.
that's what I mean
Right.
by boring. I think Fleetwood's got a very respectable chance this week.
It's Kazuma and Grillo for me. Tony Cañas, I can't thank you enough for having totally graced us with your
Anytime.
mystical presence. You were fantastic.
Fantastic.
Love it. Tony, where's your next gig? Where are you
Yes,
heading off to
so-
after this?
So I am departing a little bit early because I have a magic gig today, and that magic gig happens to be a birthday party. And I don't do kids' birthday parties. I did a 37-year-old birthday party in Alabama a few weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. Today I am doing a 102-year-old birthday party, and the way that I got this gig, so it came up in Gig Salad, which is the #1 place people hire magicians at. There's a lot of magicians in Atlanta. So normally, whoever bids first has the best chance of getting it. And I did not bid first. And the gig was supposed to be tomorrow. I'm going to be in Chicago tomorrow. So I was a dark horse for this one. I replied and I said, hey, so her real birthday, they told me that the real birthday is Tuesday, not Wednesday. And it's a small party, 5 to 10 people, just kind of like the kids. And I'm guessing a couple of grandkids. And I said, I'm not available that day, but since the real birthday is on Tuesday, if you end up moving, don't move the party for me, but if you end up moving the party to Tuesday, my grandma is 96, she's still alive, and I would love to be the magician for your grandma. I would do this party the way that I would do my own grandma's party. And he immediately hired me. And that's how I'm treating it. I am literally treating it that way. I asked him for some information, some pictures, and I'm coming in with a beautiful magic show and gift for grandma. So I am very excited.
Fantastic.
With that, I bid you guys adieu.
What? Wow. What?
Boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Cañas. So great.
That's the best out from like a Zoom or a virtual. I mean, can we all just do that from now on? Literally just randomly
We need
just
to talk to
say
our production staff, I think, but
Bye.
yeah, let's figure it out.
just say bye and then just, I mean, he added the flame. That was a nice touch. I couldn't do
great.
that part.
Well, gentlemen, what a wonderful hour. Really, really great visiting with you guys. And it was great talking to Tony, and I'm glad I met him first time with the two of you. So, Patrick, Kevin, anything you want to plug before we take off, or what do you think?
That was a ton of fun, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
That guy's doing a lot. He really is. He's doing a lot of great. The magic obviously is fascinating. I was going to ask him if a 102-year-old, let's say that after he does a trick, that person asks him, how did you do that? I mean, can you really not say does the Council of Magical Oversight give an exemption if the person you explain the trick to is over 100 years old? I mean,
I'll just answer that with, I suspect there are members of the Magic Council, wizards hundreds of years old, who would think 102, that's nothing. Like,
yeah.
don't tell anybody. It doesn't matter 102.
Well, you mentioned the ad Sir Ian McKellum, who was kind enough to read the ad. I think one of his greatest lines from Lord of the Rings was when he says, 300 lives of men I've walked this earth, and now I have no time. I love that.
That's great.
Just to
Great one
piggyback on the hundreds of years old.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Kevin,
somebody from the Magic Council just shows up in the middle of it and says, "You must report now."
Kevin, did you like the ad?
The ad was outstanding. Of course.
Well,
I still am fascinated by this reach that you have, these people that you're connected to, who sponsor this podcast. It's really special.
Well, it's like Tony Cañas. I can't reveal my connection like
No.
how I
Telling
got
you,
these people either.
if George doesn't know him, he knows someone who does.
God bless him.
That's a good one to
And we
Get
know
out on.
George.
And we know George.
absolutely,
You know,
absolutely. Patrick Wraight, other Florida insurance man. Kevin Amrhein, Florida insurance man. On behalf of my co-host, this is Golfertainment George saying thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you next time, next month, ideally, Lord willing. Take care, everybody, and I believe in magic more than ever. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Want more Golfertainment? The podcast is available on insurancejournal.tv, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Check out the weekly Insurance Journal Academy classes and after show. And follow